Hello everybody, Nicholas Snow here with promohomo.tv, and you're looking at two powerful historic images here in the home of the late Mark Thompson, who was in fact the author of multiple books, perhaps one of his most known, Gay Spirit, Myth and Meaning by Mark Thompson. He was the longtime companion for decades actually of the late great Malcolm Boyd. This video is coming to you live on November 14th, 2016. If you happen to be in the Palm Springs area on Friday and Saturday of this week, the 18th and the 19th, an estate sale is happening at this venue, and I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to learn more about these great men. Mark Thompson actually lived here for the last year of his life following If you do happen to have an interest in this sale, this is not an infomercial, by the way. This is a piece of journalism, but I do want you to be able to take advantage of acquiring some of these valuable possessions if you so choose. And the information for you to do that is on your screen right now. Katie Ullman, Estate Liquidations and Sales. You can see the website right there, everythinggoes.net. So, with me on the show today, I couldn't be more excited to have Katie Ullman, who I just mentioned, but also Katherine Forrest, who has an amazing long-term mystery novel series out. She's one of the most famous lesbian authors in the country, if not the world, actually the world. So, Katherine, welcome today.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here. It's also a very, very moving experience to be in the house of
I know it's getting choked up because they were your good friends, weren't they?
Yes, they were, and over a 3-decade period, basically from the early 80s, and they were remarkable, remarkable men. They were a gift to my life as well as everybody else's that they touched. So.
Well, let me just say hello to Katie Ullman as well. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here today.
Thank you. I really wanted to honor their memory. As I came into the house, I was just an estate liquidator, and as I started to work through the house, I realized that this was much more than just someone. We needed to memorialize and remember these men and to honor their work and their contributions to the community.
Certainly. You know, I think that before we continue, I just want to just notice what's on the wall over here. This is an amazing film poster. Is this one of the items that's going to be available?
It is. Everything that you see is available. And this is the photograph that Mark took of Harry Hay that was used in this famous poster, which is a little faded, but the energy is still there.
In the darkest hour for homosexuals in America, one man's dream would spark a social revolution. Hope Along the Wind, The Life of Harry Hay, a documentary film. Just as a little tidbit, we all have sort of historic, I'm going to stand over here because there's going to be better light for all of us, so we all have historic moments. I was at Harry Hayes' one of his 80th birthday celebrations.
Oh.
It was at Plummer Park. It was at an evening of Queer Nation, a gathering of Queer Nation. And I'm sure there were Radical Faeries there, but at any rate, we had, I don't know if I still have it, but there was a long, narrow white candle. And I don't know if the rest of us had candles, but Harry walked around a circle of us and gave us all a kiss. I want to remember that he was lighting the candle that we might have had while he had a candle, but for the longest time I had that candle from Harry's 80th birthday event.
I have a Harry Hayes story myself. One of the great moments of my life, in fact. I was at the Lambda Literary Awards in Los Angeles. This would have been sometime in the early 80s, I'm not quite sure. Well, it would have been actually the late 80s. And I was about to walk into the theater where the awards were going to be given, and Harry Hay came up to me, gave me his arm, and I walked into the Lambda Literary Awards on the arm of Harry Hay. Can you just imagine?
I love that. I'd like to know what you both were wearing. Let's step back over to this table. Is there anything in particular? We're going to making this up as we go along, but is there anything in particular, Katherine, that you would like to talk about that's on the table and perhaps connect a personal story to it?
You know, it's hard to know even where to begin. These are all of Mark's work: gay spirit, gay soul, gay body, gay spirit, myth and meaning, his advocate days. Everything that Mark has written is just a piece of sublime and irreplaceable scholarship, and it's all going to be part of our permanent history. Plus the man himself, you know, I mean, I knew Mark when he was cultural editor at The Advocate, and imagine sitting in a place like that, just as the trajectory of all of our history was was just taking off, so.
Certainly. Kate, do you mind if that lamp will turn on? Will you see if that lamp will turn on? It won't. That's okay. Katherine, I neglected to mention the name of your mystery series. Would you say that for me?
Oh, it's the Kate Delafield Mystery Series.
Thank you. Do you have an idea of of the sales stats or any impressive numbers about your series, other than the fact that it's the longest running and most popular? Are there other notable things you'd like people to know about that series?
Kate Delafield is the first lesbian police professional to appear in American literature.
I knew there was some sort of
and
important...
I'm very proud of that.
That's fantastic.
Who knew at the time? I found that out many years later that was the case.
We love that. There's just some newspaper clippings. Do you know the relevance of that newspaper clipping?
Malcolm Boyd was the business partner of Mary Pickford. And here he is becoming an Episcopalian priest in the 60s. And, you know, he was an activist priest, and he worked in the civil rights movement and so on. So he was one of the few visible religious leaders, so to speak, that was there. And she gave him, as their parting gift, these candlesticks. So they have significant value in a piece of his personal history. And yes, and over here are photographs of Mark's work, and these all appeared in his books.
Let's just move them slowly one at a time.
Sure.
Let's see, Robert
Maple, yes.
Oh, yeah, let's stop. Let's start at the beginning and describe them. So this is Mark's photographic work?
It is.
All right, so this is Robert Mapplethorpe.
Robert Mapplethorpe.
James Broughton.
James Broughton.
Of course, Harry Hay.
Harry Hay.
And then we have a more. It's just bare buns. We can get away with that. So this is a Radical Fairy gathering. I'm sure it must be.
Yes. I would imagine probably up at Wildwood, but who knows?
Yeah, this is all safe for Facebook.
That's right.
All these photographs will be for sale. The negatives no longer exist, and
beautiful picture of Malcolm. That's a beautiful photo of Malcolm.
Ram Dass.
Oh, of course, I knew that.
Ram Dass, yes, yes. And we
Paul
did-
Monette.
That's the incredible Paul Monette.
I think that photo was his book cover, actually.
Yeah.
The great Paul Monette. I had the opportunity to know Paul Monette. They actually had an event for GLAAD, and it was, I think, within the last year of Paul's life. It was kind of a roast. Paul Monette himself described it as his memorial service while he was alive. But people in attendance were Tony Kushner and Armstead Maupin and I want to say Patricia Nell Warren, but some of the great historic figures in our community and literary body were there to pay tribute to Paul Monette.
I was in the Gay and Lesbian Writer Circle with Paul and also Mark and Malcolm, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that we pointed out that this is a piece, this was a treasure of Mark's, and it's Shadow Play by Rauschenberg, who it was also John Jasper's life partner.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
marvelous. That's just marvelous.
So is basically everything in this home available?
Everything is available.
While I show what, the interesting things that are on this table, is there anything? Oh, look at this Mapplethorpe book.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. And this is I was looking at this myself just a little bit ago. This is an Andy Warhol plate in here.
Well, let's open it up. We got it. Let's just show that.
Ah,
I feel like, what was his name on Fox that opened up the tomb and found nothing? Well, there's a lot here.
Yes.
Geraldo Rivera. Oh my goodness. I can't, how do you even, do you come here and bid, or how do you price these?
there will be 2 bid items here, and that's all. The rest we will price. The Rauschenberg, and there's a picture done by Boyd Clopton, who was a designer for clothes, and his medium was designing clothes. But we have a watercolor over on this wall that he did.
Let's
and
go
signed
over to it.
Yes, and he did this painting for Malcolm, and it's signed to Malcolm Boyd, and it's here's the signature, Boyd Clopton. It's very tricky to read, and to Malcolm it said. And so this is an original painting for him, and we will take bids on this as well.
But everything else will have a price.
Everything will be priced as usual, you know.
Sure, certainly.
Right.
And we don't have to.
Glorious.
We don't have to wrap up right away, but if there anything else you'd like to show the viewers and talk about, let's go ahead and do that.
Let's go to his study.
That's
to Mark's
by all
study.
means.
Yes. By the
Wow.
way, the photographs were on Mark's writing table. We took the writing table out of this room and put it in the living room, and that's where we began the interview.
This is a very special room. This really has Mark's presence for me, very much so.
Wow.
But this isn't just this array here. Well, Kate can talk about it, but these are all his Hollywood collection. That's the remarkable thing about these two men, is that they span such an array of history, both in Hollywood and also LGBT history.
We're not going to stay in this room, but I'm going to, because we have a weak connection, but I'm going to just show, so they have good audio. I'm just going to show what I can. And then we're going to go back into the other room, because we'll have a stronger connection out there, that I'm sure. So let's go right on back out here. That's the nature of live media.
A lot of first editions in there.
So, Katherine, when did you come out?
That's a kind of a hard question to answer. I think, like for many of us, it wasn't a date as much as it was a process. I think if I had to name an actual time frame, it was when I wrote my first novel, Curious Wine. That rather blasted me out of the closet, as well you could imagine.
Now, I know you
That
don't.
would have been 1983.
I know you don't usually ask a woman their age, but the reason I want to ask you yours, and you can answer in a general or a specific way.
I'm 77.
Okay, thank you for that. Because you have a very different perspective of the LGBT civil rights movement than a millennial would have, for example. And clearly this week in history, we've had a significant setback back as a community and as a nation. But in general, we have, I think, freedoms that you probably never envisioned us having.
Never, never.
So what comes to mind and heart as you look back on the decades and the people like Mark and Malcolm and Harry Hay and so many that were there on the front lines for so long?
How lucky we were to be part of something so historic, and I feel very proud of what we did, of my generation. And one of the joys of living here in Palm Springs is it's wonderful to be with my generation and to look at so many people of all different ages and see all of the various historic events that we've all lived through, that we've been part of, some of us have helped create, and it's rather overwhelming, really. I've been very honored to have met so many of the people who were part of this. You know, the Paul Manette, who you mentioned, and especially these two men who Malcolm Boyd actually did march with Martin Luther King, and so talk about being sort of present at the creation of so many civil rights movements, and it's continuing and has to continue.
I'm speechless, actually, when I just sense your emotion, and I think about what's happened even in my own life, although I'm a little bit younger. Well, maybe a lot younger, but what can we learn from our history?
What can we learn from our history? That what a remarkable group we are. We are the only subculture anywhere on earth that incorporates all races, all colors, all creeds. We truly are a rainbow flag. We represent diversity. I think the LGBT community represents the world as it should be, and I believe that it will be. And we've always had waves of repression, and we've taken steps forward and steps backward, but the great thing that's happened in the 20th century was that we came out of the closet and we showed our faces to our country, and we are never going back.
The gardeners in the background, as some of you figured out, is there, which we can't really do anything about, but is there a photo of Mark and Malcolm together in the house that you know of? Kate, is there a photo of Mark and Malcolm together in the house that you know of?
Not that
Is there one of Mark, or maybe just the book? Is he on? Is that him when he was younger on the cover of?
That's a beauty.
That's
there.
Mark. Okay. Well, that's a fantastic photo. I just wanted to provide a strong visual image of Mark at one point in his life, and that certainly does the trick. As we conclude this sort of mini visit through history, is there anything that either one of you would like to add?
I would like to add, come one, come all, and see this. If you buy nothing, come and be part of this amazing history. There is so much history in this room. This is such a privilege for any of us to have this. The fact that we had Mark with us so briefly, but he was here. He's made an incredible mark on our city. This is an extraordinary opportunity to come and just look at the lives of these two absolutely extraordinary men.
And Kate?
Katherine expressed it very well. I really hope that our community will come out and just visit this. It's our history. It's like a mini museum to me here, And I welcome people coming and just asking questions, looking through the books of our history and our culture. It's so rich. It's just so wonderful. So please, welcome, community. Come.
So for people who want to know where the house is, if they're going to be in Palm Springs on Friday, November 18th and Saturday the 19th, there is all of the contact information that you need. But as I was mentioning, even if you see this particular video after the fact, it certainly has historic relevance. And I just want to thank both of you for all that you do in the community and for taking the time to talk to us today.
It's been a pleasure and a privilege.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Nicholas. Thank you for preserving our history in such a wonderful way, and thank you for all that you do.
Well,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I guess that this particular episode proves that you'll never know what's going to be on promohomo.tv. And I'm honored today to have been in this space with these artifacts and these power lesbians.
I'm also an artifact.
Well, that's a good place to win, to end on a light note with another fabulous shot of Mark in his younger days.